There is a specific kind of rot that only exists on magnetic tape. It's a chemical breakdown, a slow death of data. But sometimes what's on the tape isn't dying, it's waiting. I found this reel in a cardboard box behind a defunct television repair shop in rural Ohio. The owner didn't want money for it. He just wanted it gone. He told me that some frequencies don't travel through the air. They travel through the viewer. He said the thing had been playing on a loop on one of his demo TVs for a week before he managed to cut the power. He claimed the broadcast changed things, that it left an imprint on the room. This was supposed to be a standard Halloween broadcast from October 31st, 1997. Local parades, pumpkin patches, weather reports. The intro music is a familiar, upbeat 90s synth tune, but it's warped, as if the tape was left too close to a magnet. The title card reads, Channel 7, Community News, Illyria. Everything seems almost normal. But if you look at the frame rate, if you count the flickers between the scan lines, there's a secondary signal, a hitchhiker on the airwaves, a ghost in the machine. The recording itself feels heavy, dense. The air in my room grew cold the moment the tape started playing. The low, rhythmic thumping I heard wasn't from my speakers. It was coming from inside the walls. Good evening, Illyria. I'm Tom Reynolds. Tonight, the town gathers for the 40th Annual Harvest Festival. But before we get to the festivities, we have a mandatory calibration. Please look at the center of your screen. Do not blink. Do not adjust your set. The hum you hear is normal. The hum wasn't normal. It was a 17 Hz infrasound toner frequency known to induce anxiety, dread, and even visual hallucinations. It's a sound you feel more than you hear, a pressure building behind your eyes. As Tom spoke, the wood paneling behind him began to ripple. Not a special effect, not a glitch, a physical distortion of the recording medium itself, as if the reality captured on the tape was becoming unstable. The fibers of the magnetic ribbon were being rewritten in real time. We have a caller on the line, a first-time viewer. He's calling from right now. Are you listening, friend? You're sitting in the dark, aren't you? The light from the tube is the only thing keeping the shadows at the edge of the room. But the tube is where we live. At that moment, the phone in my own house rang. One single, jarring ring. Then silence. I checked the caller ID. Unknown number. Unknown name. Tom Reynolds' smile on the screen never faltered. It was fixed, a painted-on rictus that didn't reach his unblinking eyes. His gaze felt direct. It wasn't the pre-recorded gaze of a news anchor from 2 decades ago. It felt like he was looking right through the lens, through the tape, through the television screen, and into my room. He knew I was watching. The shadows, he mentioned, seemed to deepen, stretching from the corners of the room toward my chair. At the 4-minute mark, the tape enters what I can only describe as a recursive state. The broadcast abruptly cuts to a weather map. But the map isn't of Ohio. It's a detailed diagram of a human brain, specifically the temporal and occipital lobes. Red zones pulse where the storms are, labeled with meteorological symbols for hurricanes and electrical fronts. The dialogue begins to layer. You can still hear Tom's voice, clear and steady, but underneath it is a second tracker, reverse audio stream that bypasses the conscious mind. It's a low, guttural whisper that feels like it's coming from inside your own head. I spent weeks isolating and decoding it. It's not speech in any human language. It's a set of coordinates, not for a place on a map, but for a specific state of being. The biological vessel is a receiver. You have been tuned to the wrong station for 30 years. We are here to provide the correction. Every frame of this video is a stitch in your new skin. By the time the tape reaches the end of the reel, the you that started watching will be a ghost. The screen suddenly turned bright, searing red. A crawl of white text moved across the bottom, like an emergency alert. Remain seated. The signal is your friend. Discomfort is part of the calibration. My heart was hammering against my ribs, that 17 hertz tone vibrating through my entire skeleton. I tried to eject the tape. The VCR's eject button was completely unresponsive. The plastic door was fused shut, hot to the touch. I scrambled to unplug the TV, yanking the cord from the wall. The screen stayed lit, burning with a cold internal fire, powered by something else. Tom was back on screen now, but his skin looked like old parchment, stretched tight over his skull. He wasn't reading the news anymore. He wasn't looking at a teleprompter. He was reading my medical history, my secrets. He recited the name of my childhood dog. He described in detail the scar on my left knee from a fall I took when I was 7. He mentioned the things I thought I'd buried in the woods behind my childhood home. The transition is 90% complete. Can you feel it, friend? The static behind your eyes. That's not a headache. That's us moving in. We've been looking for a new host since 1997. The signal was too weak back then. It was analog, fragile. But with your modern eyes, your digital connections, your network, we can go everywhere now. We are no longer bound to the tape. The camera in the new studio began to pan left, slow and deliberate, revealing the crew. They weren't people. They were tall, gaunt, faceless figures draped in what looked like shimmering black magnetic tape, their forms shifting and glitching like a corrupted video file. They stood motionless, silent observers to Tom's monologue. They were the source of the broadcast. They were the signal. Tom wasn't a hijacker. He was the first host. The final frames of the tape are a mirror. Literally, the image dissolves, and the screen becomes so reflective and clear that you see yourself sitting in your room, illuminated by the glow. But in the reflection, your mouth is gone. Your lips, your teeth, your tongue replaced by a fine, metallic speaker grill, just like on an old radio. If you are hearing this, the signal has successfully jumped. The transfer is complete. You are the 11th witness. The tape is no longer necessary. You are the broadcast now. Thank you for watching Channel 7. We'll be with you forever.